Hello, and welcome back. This is episode 10 of this lore play of Silent Hill 2. Where we left off is here in the Labyrinth, or as some people like to call it, nowhere. So I tried to show this in the end of the last episode, but it turns out my game actually glitched out, which is weird, and it also corrupted my save. I have no idea why that happened, but anyways, I fixed it and I got back up to the point I left off. And as you can see, I came in on that door, which is behind me. And, well, you can see that James is drawing in the map as he goes. He's stenciling it using a pen or a pencil. That's pretty neat. So we're going to go this way. Excuse my cracking voice there. So, there's a ladder there, and a ladder here. We can go down either, because this room, there's the second appearance of the mandarins, and we're going to go in this room. And before I do anything, I'm going to show you the map. So you can see that little blue to the left of my green arrow is the ladder we came down on. And I'm not going to run around the whole thing because it's dangerous to do so with the mandarins and our other friend. But this is actually a little circle, and this is Pyramid Head's home, the center of the circle, which will become very evident very quickly. This is an excellent camera angle, because when I walk forward, not only do we have, similar to the flesh lips, caged little enemies that have been cut up, sewn up, and everything. But we also have the great knife here on the table, which, if you remember, is the knife that Pyramid Head wields in our first boss fight against him. And we just picked it up. And you can see that there's that red glow coming from that light. I guess Pyramid Head really likes that in his interior decorating. So, just to show you, I'm going to save. If you actually walk out here and explore, you'll find, it's Pyramid Head. And he'll circle this area indefinitely, I guess patrolling his home. And we came out on the other ladder. So I'm going to heal myself quickly because he did get a hit in. But it's worth it because I wanted to show you that he is down there. And now I have the great knife and he doesn't. He has replaced it with the great spear, it's called. And I just want to point out, this is where the name Pyramid Head comes from, is the item description of the great knife. Massive weapon wielded by Pyramid Head, hard to use but lethal. And that sure is true because you can see you move incredibly slowly with it, and it tilts you in a way that you can't even look forward with your flashlight. And it's incredibly slow to swing, as you can tell. You have both an overhead and a side-to-side swing, sort of reflecting Pyramid Head's two attacks. One is an underhand swing and one is overhead. So, this will kill pretty much anything in one hit, except for bosses. I'm not going to use it because it makes you very slow. So I'm going to use the shotgun. But, pretty cool little thing. So, I'm going to show you the map. We explored that section, so we're going to have to explore the section in front of us. Because that other side, down here, this is all wired off. So, we're going to explore this way and find a solution to that problem. And you'll see these two ladders side by side, well, not side by side, opposite each other. And we're down in this water area of the labyrinth. I got a good hit in on, I can't speak. Good hit in on him. I tried my best. So what do we have here? this odd stone block which I can turn and move and everything. But what does it do? Well, this stone block turns this large cube of a room until we can get one of these doors to line up so we have where to go. So this is a little puzzle. You just kind of have to turn it till you get it right. Luckily, I think I do remember the solution. Yep. That will take us straight down here.
You're alive! Maria, I thought that thing killed you. Are you hurt bad?
Not at all, silly.
Maria? That thing, it stabbed you. There was blood everywhere.
Stabbed me? What do you mean?
It chased us to the elevator, and then...
James, what are you talking about?
Just before! Don't you remember?
James, honey, did something happen to you? After we got separated in that long hallway? Are you confusing me with someone else? You were always so forgetful. Remember that time in the hotel?
Maria?
You said you took everything, but you forgot that videotape we made. I wonder if it's still there.
How do you know about that? Aren't you Maria?
I'm not your Mary.
So, you're Maria?
I am. If you want me to be.
All I want from you is an answer.
It doesn't matter who I am. I'm here for you, James. See? I'm real. Don't you want to touch me?
I don't know.
Come and get me. I can't do anything through these bars.
Okay. Stay right there. I'll be there soon.
So that is one of the most iconic cutscenes. That imagery of James sitting on the stool and looking through the bars and her being on the other side is a pretty famous image, much like the Angela in front of the mirror. Sorry, I bumped the mic there. Once again, much like earlier in the hospital and when we first meet her, Maria kind of seems to have two personalities, which she switches between, which is, as you notice at the beginning of that cutscene, she didn't seem to remember getting stabbed by Pyramid Head. And she talks not like she normally would. She normally talks very sexy, very sensually, and she was just talking like a normal lady, like a sweet lady. And it confuses James, much like it confuses us, because it seems like she is Mary, and that she has Mary's memories, obviously, because she remembers the videotape we forgot in the hotel. So, you know, what's going on? That's the question. Anyways, if we really want the answer, we're going to have to liberate Maria from the prison. So, we're going to leave the prison and hopefully get through that door back there. What is James looking at? It seems he's taking an interest in that chair. That's odd. So, we'll leave. There's that flashlight bug that's coming out the back of me. So, here's this power grid, and someone stabbed something into it. A wire cutter. Very convenient since we've got a whole row of wires we need to cut. Excuse me. Uh-oh. Nice dodge, James. Silent Hill 2, the character action game. Silent Hill 2 Rising. Silent Hill 2 Revengeance. I'd play that game in a minute. Use this to cut these wires. Oh, that was quick. Okay. Goodness gracious, that's loud. So now, what we have is this whole bunch of random little hallways and gutter places, all sorts of random nonsense like that, and dead ends, all littered with lying figures. So, we're going to see if I remember my way through here, because this is the most confusing section of the game. But if we wander long enough, we will end up in the right place. So, excuse me, sir. That wasn't very kind of you. I believe it's this way. And this maze actually is pretty long. Maybe not overly long, but it's long enough. Is this it? Yep. So you can kind of see down in there. That's actually the underwater, not underwater, but the little hallway we were just walking through with water. And so we want to go this way. Oops. I'm not overly worried about getting the shit beaten out of me by these things because we have plenty of health drinks. I think we have 2 or 3 ampoules, which is really good, and we have plenty of medkits. So normally I'd be pulling the moves, juking by these guys, but you know, we're gonna be just fine no matter what happens, honestly. And I want to point out this room. A lot of people believe that this is inspired by a certain Francis Bacon portrait. I'll let you be the judge, I'll put it up. Obviously you can notice a few similarities, but, you know, it's hard to say. Alright. So, there's this newspaper on the ground. It's stained with something that looks like blood and is partially illegible. The body of a man later identified as Thomas Arrow, lumberjack, age 39, was discovered in the blank, lying for the probable cause of death was multiple stab wounds to the front of the neck and the left side of the torso by a sharp-edged weapon. Sorry about that weird little glitch. The probable cause of death was multiple stab wounds to the front of the neck and the left side of the torso by a sharp-edged weapon. The estimated time of death was somewhere between 11 p.m. and 12:30 midnight. Due to signs of struggle in the room and the lack of a murder weapon, police are considering this as a homicide and have opened a murder investigation. Furthermore, given the fact that the cash in the room was untouched and Mr. Orozco is the name, had a history of drunkenness and violence, the police suspect that the motive was not robbery, but it was a crime of passion. So I was just trying my best to make sense of that. But basically, age 39, lumberjack, named Thomas Orozco. Bad dude, history of drinking, history of abuse. Obviously, that is actually Angela's father, because Angela's name is Angela Orozco. And funny enough, we do have a knife from Angela, and it's a blade stained with blood. So, very much likely that is the murder weapon. There's a save icon here, but we're not going to use it. We're going to go ahead. There's something going on. So this is our next boss fight against a very scary enemy called... Against a very scary enemy called the Abstract Daddy. Alternatively, a lot of people call it the Doorman because it looks like it's on a door. We're nearing death. So I'm gonna heal up real quick. And also reload while I'm at it. So this is all just pretty horrifying, honestly. But you'll notice it looks like two human figures on top of each other, pronounced butt. Mouths groaning in pain and moaning on top of what it is.
Okay.
Appears to be a door, but is actually a bed. And I'll be quiet now.
Angela, relax.
Don't order me around!
I'm not trying to order you.
So what do you want then? Oh, I see. You're trying to be nice to me, right? I know what you're up to. It's always the same. You're only after one thing.
No, that's not true at all.
You don't have to lie. Go ahead and say it. Or you could just force me. Beat me up like he always did. You only care about yourself anyway. You disgusting pig.
Angela,
Don't touch me! You make me sick. You said your wife Mary was dead, right?
yes. She was ill.
Liar! I know about you. You didn't want her around anymore. You probably found someone else.
That's ridiculous. I never.
So, I mean, what can you say? What can you really say about all this? There's a lot of scary things in all Silent Hill, but this is, I think, the most horrific, is Angela's story. And I don't blame her at all for killing her father, and it's confirmed in the novelization and by that rip picture where her and her mother are on one side and her brother and father on the other. Her brother was just as bad as her dad. So, obviously, Abstract Daddy, I'll show a few pictures, but pretty obvious what it is. It's, and the name and everything. It was alternatively called in development Angela Papa, which is, I don't know, it's not a great name. I can't examine it, but the room I want to talk about, because it's very fleshy, all of this is flesh, and you'll notice these metal pistons are slamming into these holes, and the reason for that is, well, much like, oil fracking, it's meant to symbolize metal, foreign, artificial, just terrible objects pounding into organic flesh, it's really something else. And if you use a cam hack, you can find there are 23 holes exactly. And the fact that it's not just uniform across all the walls, that there's 23 in particular, specifically. A lot of people think that it symbolizes how many times Angela was abused. But yeah, terrible stuff. I'm gonna save really quickly. And a lot of people think this is symbolic of Angela's living room because of the TV and everything. And I'm sure that's true. Except I don't think her living room was really covered in flesh. But also worth noting, this is the one time in Silent Hill where it's confirmed that other people are seeing the same monster. So of course Angela was seeing this, right? She was seeing a monster or an enemy. The issue is that it's unclear, you know. Maybe she just sees her dad. Maybe she just sees Thomas Orozco, and we see this enemy. But the thing we can say for certain is that the only reason James can see the abstract daddy at all is because there's so much overlap in his psyche and Angela's as far as sexual imagery goes and sexual frustration. So, again, really hard to say if this is what Angela actually sees or if it's just her dad. I would guess it's just her dad, but because all the monsters tend to be personalized, but because of their, you know, some shared themes, they were able to sort of see the same monster. I mean, the appearance is probably different, but you get the idea. So, we're gonna leave here. And there's newspapers all over the place. This one has today's date. So I just want to point out something interesting. This is where it came from. But in a speed run, you can actually skip this entire boss fight by you click on this newspaper and then you preserve the text using the quick save, and you can just run right by and skip the trigger. Saves a lot of time. So yeah, terrible stuff. This room is full of corpses with some paper on their faces. This man was hung for the crime of thievery. Justice and revenge has been served. This man was hung for the crime of kidnapping. Justice and revenge has been served. So all the crimes and stuff are dead set, but the order and position of the bodies changes on each playthrough, so it's completely randomly generated. So I'll show you exactly why these are here. Which is this. A room full of nooses. Notice, only the sinless one can help you here. Mistakenly pull on a criminal's rope and your reward will be returned to you in a shape most wondrously strange. So what that means is, if you don't solve this puzzle correctly and you pull on the wrong rope, a bunch of flying figures will spawn in the hallway. But we're gonna get it right. Here's the puzzle. Dead men, swinging in a tree. How many dead men do you see? Tongue turned blue and face gone gray. Watch them as they twist and sway. The first one killed the butcher man, then cooked him in the frying pan, served him to his hungry guests, and gave them seconds on request. The next one, with his smile and sweets, stole poor children off the streets. To men who dressed unsavory, he sold them into slavery. Breaking into a home at night, the thief he had a nasty fright, filled his foolish head with ale, woke in the morn in the county jail. The artist with his daunting skill tried his hand at painting bills, but caught in the rain he was undone, when the ink he'd used started to run. With promises of great return, taking gold he did not earn, bundled it up out of sight, quietly slipped off into the night. 3 houses into ashes burned. The sheriff, with no place to turn, did spy a stranger to his town, locked him up and beat him down. Dead men, swinging in a tree. How many dead men do you see? 6 feet long and 6 men wide. Around their necks the noose be tied. So, as it said in the hint, you have to pull the rope of the sinless one. And what does that mean? Well, you have to find which criminal in this poem, in this little riddle, was innocent. So, I'll show you the solution. The first one killed, so the murderer. Next, so he was guilty. This guy stole children. The kidnapper, he's guilty. This one broke into the home at night, so that guy is guilty. Counterfeiter's guilty because he painted the bills. This guy stole the gold he did not earn, so he's a thief, guilty. This one, 3 houses into ashes burned. The sheriff had no place to turn. He spied a stranger in his town, and he locked him up and beat him down. So nothing saying of why the stranger was picked, except that he was a stranger. So the arsonist will be the innocent party. He's the sinless one, which means we'll have to pull on his rope. And this puzzle, lore doesn't go too deep on it. It's just notice the theme of vengeance, of justice. This man was hung for arson. So we need to go back into that room, and we need to pull this guy's rope. The rope that corresponds with his position. And I had to go back and check because, like I said, it's randomly generated. So I wanted to be sure. There's a rope hanging from the ceiling. Will you pull it? Yes. So this is obvious imagery of James pulling a noose down over his face. Of course, symbolizing 1, justice, and 2, suicide. And so we're going to go back to the room. Lo and behold, we did pick the right one. I got the key of the persecuted. The paper that was covering his face is lying here. So his corpse disappeared and left me with a key called the key of the persecuted. So we're going to go through this door, which we had not gone through yet. And this is why we needed that key. Because there's a gate here with some handcuffs that restrict the gate opening. So let's use the key of the persecuted. Unlock the handcuffs and open the gate. Excellent. So we're actually going to stop right here because we're getting very close to a few more big events in the game and another cutscene. So this will be a good place to stop for this episode. Thank you once again very much for watching, and we'll be back very soon.